Rachel and I thank each and every one of you for coming and sharing this most memorable evening. Now we know that Derech Eretz comes before Torah. It even comes before a joke. So Derech Eretz demands of us to appreciate the presence of Rav Kiva Grumblatt and Rav David Harris, who took of their precious time for the weight of the world on their shoulders to come and be here tonight and to give us great pieces. We appreciate it. We also appreciate sharing the podium with Benny and Yaffa Kirat, Mr. Joel Barris, all who stand for the values of Torah and appreciation of Torah. May you all see that banner of Torah raised ever higher. I also very much appreciate the presence of my father, she lived and be well, my stepmother, my shver, my shviger, even my shviger. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. I'm traveling for so far. I really appreciate Dovi coming from Eretz Yisrael. You have no idea how much it means to us. We'll reciprocate. We also want to thank our dear partner Shmuel Brass. We are joined in the hip, joined in Torah, for this beautiful, beautiful presentation that came not from the camera lens, but really came from his heart. Well, and I also want to thank Rabbi Monty Rosenberg for his expert artistic talents and for his love. Thank you all. I want to also thank my brother Chaim, who came here tonight. It really means a lot to us that we're together for service. Not a joke. I think you're better off with the first one. There's 3 rabbis sitting, schmoozing, having a coffee. And there's a procession, a funeral procession that goes around the corner and they all see it. So one of them says to the second one, says, we know time passes, we're not here forever. What would you like them to say about you after 120 years? So the first one says, I really cherish my family. I cherish very much my relationships. I'd like them to say that I was a good husband and a good father. Okay. Second one says, I was a person who dedicated himself to teaching Torah. I love teaching Torah. I'd like them to say that I was a spiritual leader and a teacher of Torah. I'd like them to talk about that after I'm done. The third one looks at them and he says, I'd like them to look at me and say, he's still moving! There's a medrash that really sums it all up. Through the wisdom of Chazal, everything takes new meaning. Yosef is called to help his father. And the medrash wonders, why Yosef? Why? You always ask why. There's Yehuda, the Melech. There's Reuben, the Bechor, the firstborn, the king. Why Yosef? Medrash answers very tersely. In the second answer he says, Yisrael Shohoya. It's in here somewhere. He says, because the Shah was Mesura B'Yada. The time was handed into his hands. There's something unique about being in the right place at the right time. I don't take any credit for what happened here tonight for the years, the 24 years. My wife doesn't take the credit, although she deserves it. I was asked to be here, this place, for this period of time. And was I supposed to be part of a very major, magnificent miracle? I had that source being asked by my Rebbe, who saw the need to build Torah in Miami. It was easy to me. I just listened and I followed. And I believed that they understood the needs of Klal Yisrael. They recognized it, they felt it, and I just followed instructions. Being at the right place at the right time. There's another profound view on tonight, which I have to introduce with a joke. Forgive me. Psychiatrist is sitting in his office, and he's very busy. His receptionist says, Doctor, you've got to see this patient. You've got to take care of him. What's wrong? The man thinks he's invisible. Tell him I'm busy. Receptionist comes back. He's not lying. He really insists on being taken care of by you. He's an emergency. Another excuse, a third excuse. Finally, the doctor says, let me think about this kid. Just tell him I can't see him now. But in truth, that's not a joke. There are invisible forces that are going on in this room right here, right now, that are very, very much a part of what's happening. And it's a Mishnah. It's a Mishnah Birkei Avos. The Mishnah says, all those that toil and work hard for the tzibur, for the community, their efforts, their struggle should be for the name, for the sake of heaven. That those invisible forces of those that are no longer physically here are still present and still very much active in all that goes on. The mission continues. Tzidkasam omedes la'ad. And their righteousness stands firm and maintains a very active role in everything that happens. And for us, workers of the Tzorchei Tzibur, I'll give you credit as if you did, but you really didn't. It was from an invisible source, from another dimension that you may not see, but is very, very present. The Rabbi Bentzion says, when you work for the tzibur and you connect with that tzibur, you actually double and triple and quadruple your efforts. And it says the Rabbi Bentzion, V'chol asher ato oseh, and everything you do, Hashem matzliach biyadecha, Hashem grants you success. Shizachus avosam misayosam, that the merit of your forefathers continues to help you. What you witness tonight is chosam, the merit of generations that are very, very present but not visible. There's no other explanation. Everyone said it can't be done. Even Rabbi Grunblatt questioned it once. It was a long question. From 7 children, maybe Frank will correct me, it was 8, to nearly 600. Torah Semes and those involved in Torah Chaim were at the forefront of rebuilding a neighborhood that was about to crumble. We helped spawn new Torah yeshivos in schools in Boca Raton, in West Palm Beach, Kiruv Kohalim, shuls in Boca, in Kendall, and Surfside. The efforts of all of you and those that are not physically here have impacted not only the network of the Chavetz Chaim yeshivas, Kohalim, North Miami Beach. We acknowledge the presence of the new Kohalim, North Miami Beach. We thank you all for coming. The Kohalim Miami Beach, which was a big positive influence by the beaten path of direct commitment to Torah, that others were able to follow the path that was blazed in the early days. Many, many Torah enterprises are beneficiaries of that source of us. I learned that lesson early on, very early on in my career. In a tragic moment, one of our earliest supporters was in the hospital, Nebuch, his last days, last minutes. A Talmud of my Rebbe's Rebbe, or His name was Reb Chaim Meir. Reb Chaim Meir, coming from the tradition of his Rebbe, dignity, being a Torah prince, asked me to bring him a shaver his last minutes. So I said, what do you need a shaver for? It's not kavod or mensch. Mensch is to have people see you on camera. And I shaved him, and he smiled, and he thanked me, and he washed Nebuchadnezzar, and then he said to me, I now can rest in peace. My Rebbe's yeshiva is here in Miami. He closed his eyes. He said goodbye. Schosopos. My Rebbe and his Rebbe, that's certainly an active part of all that we are. But sitting in front of us is another gentleman, Baruch Hashem, who's here, whose chusin, no question, impacted us. In a dark time in our history, in a labor camp called Skarzisk, he was confronted by, I think he said to me, a Cossack, a Polak, doesn't matter, Yamat Shimon. And he said, Jew, I'm going to give you a choice. Either I'm going to kill you, or they're going to kill you. So what do you mean? There's a building over there that the Nazis are surrounding. He told me the date. I can only tell you the year. He remembers the date. He remembers the event. It's etched in his memory. 1943. And he said, you go into that building and you get me a pair of pants. And if they catch you, they'll kill you. If you don't go in, I'll kill you. You have a choice. Being young and nimble, he broke in to that building, surrounded. The Nazis did not want anybody to know the secret that Jews were able to fight and resist for so many years. He broke in and he took the pair of pants, excuse me for the expression, and he said he could feel the warm blood of Achinu Kol Beis Yisrael. He could feel it. And as he was scrounging around on the floor, he said he also felt a half of a Gemara. A Gemara Psachim, he told me. I said, Daddy, I understand the pair of pants, but of course, you wouldn't dare take out the Gemara. It would mean your death warrant. He said, on the contrary. On the contrary. My life was meaningless if I can't learn Torah. They robbed me of my youth. They robbed me of everything. I'm taking this Gemara and I'm going to learn Torah. My Shver told me this story. He didn't know this then. I'm on the way from Florida to New York to go to California for a chassan. And he said to me parenthetically, by the way, I have chavrusa. A chavrusa? You sat and learned the chavrusa? He said, yes. We had a place under the barracks in which we sat and learned every single night by candlelight. We finished that half of the sefta I don't know how many times. My chavrusa, his name was Chaim Hertz. I said, Ed, do you know that I am going to his granddaughter's chasna tonight in California? It's quiet. Schusavos, those acts of heroism, those that are not here, that are here, the past generations, they're very much a part of everything we do. It's nothing to do with us. Shizchusavosa misayason. My father should live and be well, and my stepmother, she should live and be well. The mysterious nefesh they have for Klal Yisrael is enormous. But I want to ask you a question. Dr. Bloom will appreciate this question. Shezechus avosam Messiah's son? Why did it change from the mem to the nun? I might suggest, and of course he'll disagree, we have this wonderful relationship over the last 24 years to continue. That it's possible that the Mishnah wants us not to look at our chassid, but at the other person's chus. It's possible that not the person who commits to the act, but to the one who gets involved. This story is a true story. And there's a woman sitting in front of us tonight who can tell you more about the details. There was a gentleman, a chashav yid. His name is Yoshua Lev Kvarnik. He had a daughter, a teenager, who ran from the Nazis, Yamach Shemon. And she ran, she saw a barn. And she quickly runs up the ladder into the hayloft on top of the barn. And she takes away the ladder and she lays down in the straw. And I believe she was accompanied by a group as well. She's laying there frightened, scared. She knows it's a matter of time till they find her. The Nazis, you can hear them, their voices, bloodthirsty voices, call out and they say, we know you're in there. We know you're in there. We're coming upstairs with our bayonets. We're going to go up and down that hayloft with our bayonets. And we're going to pierce the floor. And if you're there, so you might as well come out. And this young girl, laying there, davens, Tati, please. I'm in terrible sorrow. I'm in a terrible loss, still a terrible situation. Please help me. She falls asleep. And she hears the voice of her father, that Yeshua said, calling out, be still, my dear daughter, be still. Don't worry. Nothing's going to happen. You'll be okay. And she was calmed, and she was eased. And she was able to lay there still when the Nazis pierced 1/2 inch away from her head with a sharp bayonet. Her father saved her life. And that has had a direct effect on our yeshiva. Because sitting here tonight, because of that schosavos, is Nissel's Zisel Klurman. The Klurman Elementary School has been the conduit to the growth and the success of the school. It's all schosavos. It's all schosavos. Those are part of the invisible forces that we don't see. Tonight, on your tables, they're not pledge cards. These are credit cards. Credit cards for schosavos. Imagine you were able to take off your glasses and put on spiritual glasses. And imagine that in or through those spiritual glasses you were able to see doros and dore-doros that are here for us, to help us, to assist us. Shezachus avosam esayosan. That their schusim are still here. That their energies and their serious nefesh for Torah and their commitment to those ideals that we sit here and stand here for tonight are very much a part of us. We remember that schosavos. Remember that spiritual credit card. Of all the lessons I learned from my reading, perhaps one of the most penetrating one was from a non-verbal crafts that I heard from the Rebbetzin Chait. She's standing outside on a hot day. She never had her own children. And she looked and saw each and every child in this particular bungalow colony. She gave everyone a lollipop with such love. And she sees me, she says, Bentzion, oi! Oi! What's going to be with these children? And they don't learn how to think, and how to be a mensch, and how to love and live Torah. What an empty, wasted life! What's going to be with these children? Tonight, as Rachel and I move on. Yeah, we're still moving. It is very appropriate. I know Rabbi Bentzion wanted the dinner to be now. I was really hoping it would be a little earlier or a little later. But we're going from one sefer to another sefer. And we say to each other, Chazak, Chazak, in this Chazek. What a great opportunity. What a great challenge. It is by Sheret that this event takes place tonight, today. There are no coincidences. No coincidences in Columbus. I'm going to tell you now a bullamite. There was a woman who had 3 sons. And these 3 sons never really learned the yeshiva, the wonder yeshivas, in her community in Philadelphia in the 1930s. And she schleps her sons to New York, and she says to the dean of Rabbi Yitzchak Elchanan Yeshiva, I want my son to learn Torah. Leaving this place. I'm not leaving this room until you give my child an opportunity to be a mentor. Sorry, man. Your son is not ready. Your son is not capable. Your son does not have the background. My son needs to have a Torah education. She was adamant. She was fired. That bullah, my son, was my bullah. My father's mother, Today was your birthday. Schus avosom misayoson, the schus of our ancestors, are very much part of what we do. I have to conclude with a joke. No joke. Gentleman is nearing his end. He's laying up in his room, and his children are there all crying, Tati, Tati, what can we do for you? And he says, you know, something smells delicious. Although I'm not making it at home. Something smells delicious in the kitchen. Can you tell the mama, just give me a taste? Just give me a taste. And the children go downstairs and they ask their mother. And they come back upstairs a little dejected and say, sorry, Dad. Mama says it's for after the funeral. You don't have to wait until after you're no longer here. Become the schusavos for your children. You don't have to wait to be that credit card that one day they will need to draw on. That spiritual bank. That spiritual force. You are that schusavos for your children. And right here tonight, I ask you to please take care of my baby. When my oldest daughter had a young baby born, 1 pound, 11 ounces. Schusavos, no question. Every breath was a challenge. And I'm davening. You want to know what davening's like? Stand in a neonatal NIC unit, and you watch every single motion. And it's just a miracle. The whole beat continues and continues. And I'm davening like I never davened before in my life. And I hear a voice. Rabbi, can you pray for my child? And I look up and I see a gentleman, a male nurse in scrubs. I say, your child? Which one is your child? This one, and this one. They're all my children. Can you please pray for me? We started something very special. Seeing Nisan, we recognize this because they will continue. Because you have people that work l'shem shamayim with unbelievable devotion on the lay leadership, on the rabbinic leadership. They're such incredible people. Rabbi Ruben, Rabbi Maimon, and Rabbi Kalban. The dedication and devotion, and the entire staff. They care for every child. Help them. Make the schusavos that you have, make it more real. Now you'll have an excuse to say, but I gave already. I conclude with another story. They say I was finished. No more jokes. Not time. This story happened. It's a simple story. I'm outside, showering too. And I'm outside going from shul to shul as I have to make the rounds. I don't mean hakafos. It's part of the job. And I see Dr. Han. I said, Ellie, great opportunity for you. Something special. We're going to build a new residence hall, and I need you to be my partner. And Elliot is one of the few that doesn't drink on simple stories. Maybe you should start it. Water. Yeah. The other thing says, Rabbi Chait, now when you have a question, you turn to look at, are you getting young? I said, Ellie, we're friends. We're partners. I am offering you an opportunity. He looks at me. He says, you know, I have to discuss this with Lily. She's my partner. We work together as a team. said, you have a way connecting Chosavos. You share all of Shalom with a very special Jew who's very close to my in-laws, to give that perpetuation of that name. He comes back once a Shabbos, 3 days after, with a smile on his face. It is an opportunity. I want to be part of it. Those are the kinds of people sitting here. Incredible serious nefesh sitting here. I'm not asking you to fill out your own pledge card. If my shot, Dr. Bloom, is right, you get more from the next person by motivating the next person. That's really his chosavos that really matter. And it says, in everything you do, you'll be successful. You'll seize the moment. You'll grab the opportunity. These credit cards, it's not just cash back. It's not getting 5% back. It's all yours. And your children, will go and go as I'm so called. Just give. Turn to your neighbor and say, can you please help? By my asking you, Shem Shemayim, I'm tapping into yours, Chosavos. I'm connecting with that source that you have. And it helps me. It works with a seaboard. And Max knows the meaning of seaboard, community. Seaboard is a unified group. Seaboard, they're connected. When we act, connect with every single member of this group. It says, I care for every child. And I care to help and develop, grow the school. It's got so much more to grow. There's amazing, wonderful miracles that will continue with Chosavos. We need to tap into those Chosavos. We got to swipe the card. You got to put your name on it. You got to care for the baby and help him grow or her grow. I ask you to please, seize the moment, seize the opportunity. B'chol asher yaseh yatzliach, and everything you do, Hashem should give you great miles and bracha and hatzlacha. I thank each and every one of you. Each and every one of you will be part of our lives forever. We are partners. Each one of you has made an impact on our children, and I and Rachel are eternally grateful to each and every one. Thank you very much.